Okay, so the earlier session is converting so that I can upload it to YouTube. Just don't focus on it yet. All right, so we have scores and we are interested in calculating the average. We all know that the average is the total divided by the number of items. Okay, if you want to calculate the average of 9 numbers, you just sum all those 9 numbers and you divide it by 9. So we can do it this way. The easy way is leverage what is already available in Python. So we know total is equal to sum of scores. And then we can also get the length and divide. We cannot do all these things in one line of code. So I'll say average is equal to sum of scores divided by the length of scores. Now let's print average. So the average is 48.0. This is how to calculate average. But if you wanted to do it the hard way, then we can do what we did. We can use the for loop to do the summation on our own. And then when we finish, we will calculate. Why am I showing you the hard way? Because it is not all the time that you are aware of what's available in Python. It is good for you to know them, but for now you are beginners and it's not all the time you are going to know. So you might choose to do certain things the hard way. That is why I'm teaching you this. So how do we do that? Let's say total is equal to 0. Then I'll do for score in scores. I'll say total is equal to total plus S. Then when I'm done, I'll come outside the for loop. It's important. If you do it in the for loop, it is treated as part of the for loop. So see, the indentation is very important. It is not starting on the same line as this one. Okay? So I go, and then it means when the for loop is finished, before that part will execute. So then I'll say average is equal to total divided by the length of scores. And let's print average. So average is 48.0, just as we did with this one line of code here. So you can choose to do things the hard way or the easy way, depending on your skill set and knowledge as at the time when you're writing the code. There is even another more difficult way we can solve this. And I'm showing you just so you know how to use what you have learned. Like, you need to leverage what you've learned to solve different problems in different ways. So when I give an assignment, I'm not expecting the same solution, except you copy it. So I can say total is equal to 0, and I'll say, see what I'm going to do here. I'll say for I in range length of scores. If you are confused, just let me know, because I will be happy to get you confused at this point. I'll be happy to get you confused at this point. So I'll say total is equal to scores I. So I'm going to add that to total. So total plus. And then when I finish, outside, I'll do exactly what I did. So AVG is equal to total divided by length of scores. Let's print AVG. So we get the same 48. So see, 3 different types of code. One which is very short, one-liner, it achieves the purpose. Another which is more elaborate, it achieves the purpose. And a second variant of the more elaborate version, which also works. So this is what I always mean when I say you are learning the syntax and semantics. Syntax is how to write valid programming statements in the language you're learning, in this case, Python. Semantics is the understanding what it means, those valid statements you have written, those statements which are syntactically correct, what do they mean? That is the semantics. And if you understand the semantics of a language, you can twist things and use things as you want. What does the second version mean? I just said for I in range length of scores. So I am generating integers between 0 to length of scores. What is length of scores? 0, 1, 2, 3. It's actually 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And because I'm ranging from 0 to 4, I get the number 0, 1, 2, 3, which are actually 4 when you count. And then I said total is equal to total plus the ith item in score. This is how you need to read it. When you index into a list, you call it, you are assessing the ith item, because I'm calling my index I. So I said, I'm interested in the ith score. Just add it to total. So I said total is equal to 0. And then now I print. If you want to see how total progresses, just print out total in the for loop. And you see how total progresses. See. So total started off at 0. And then what, let me even print scores up here so that we have a good. Okay. So total started off at 0. And then, so if you access the first item, which is 10, if you add 10 to 0, what do you get? 10, right? And then it will move on to the next iteration. So each complete run of one run of the loop is called an iteration. So in the first iteration, I refers to 10. So it's just going to add 10, just whatever you see scores I, put 10 there. So it's 0 plus 10. And when you print it out, you get 10. Now total is 10. Then it adds the next item, which is 35. So 35 plus 10 is 45. Then it moves on to the next item, which is 57. You add it to 45, you get 102. Then it goes to the last item, which is 90. You add it, and then you get 192. And then we do our division, and we get 48.0. So regardless of the approach we use, we still get the same answer. So you know the for in loop, and then you also know, I mean, they are all for in, but in one, we were looping over just a list that we created ourselves. And in the other, we are looping over a list that we created using the range function. Any question up until this point before I move on to while loops?
Is it okay to learn just two and forget the third one, please?
No, because you will not write code for just yourself. When you become a software engineer and you're working in a company, different people write codes different ways. So you cannot, there is no choice here. You can have a personal preference which you like to use when you are working on your own personal projects, but to fit well in a company as a team player, you need to understand what other people write. Now you are learning how to write code. At a point, you need to learn how to read code. I know people who know how to write code, but they don't know how to read code. So they can write their own code, but when others write code, they can't read and really get it. It's also another skill that you need to learn. So there is no choice here. You need to know the different ways in which things are done.
And number two, sorry, I noticed that after the for statement comes in, is it a must to always step out of the?
Yes, yes, unless you want everything to be done in the for statement. The way you see, the code executes sequentially. Okay. And yesterday I explained to you that Python doesn't have blocks. Blocks in other languages, you use curly braces to indicate them. Python doesn't have that. It only uses the indentation, which is whenever you begin with a colon, you leave 4 spaces or a tab, and then you align your code to that point. So now if I add another line here, print good, see what happens. You see that for each iteration, it will print total and then to print good. See, it will print total and good, total and good, total and good. Only after the for loop will it come to calculate the average. Let me make this a bit outstanding. So you can see that it is only after the for loop that it will come and print the average.
Yeah.
What happens if I push average in there? Now it means I'm calculating average on each iteration of the loop. So on the first instance, the average was 2. 11. Then you see, sometimes you are lucky that if you put it inside a loop, you get the same result, but it's not always guaranteed. There are times when you fail this way. So you need to know when you are done with the loop and you want to break out of it.
Okay. Okay.
Right. Any other question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about the while loop. The while loop helps you to repeatedly execute a block of code while a certain condition is true. The while loop, I'm going to repeat again. The while loop helps you to repeat a block of code while a certain condition is true. For example, let's do something very stupid that can hang my Jupyter notebook. I'm going to say, I'm going to set year is equal to 2020. And then I'll say, while year is equal to 2020, print Happy New Year. You see the problem with this code? It is called an infinite loop. I said, while year is equal to 2020, print Happy New Year. And the computer is happy printing Happy New Year. As I speak, it is still printing. It will keep printing until Google cannot take it no more and tell you that, dude, we are killing your notebook. Or I kill it myself by clicking the stop. Why does this suck? Because I have created an infinite loop and I'm doing the same thing over and over and over and over. Oh, the Baba is still running. Okay, now I've killed it. So why is this a bad piece of code? This is an infinite loop. There are times when infinite loops are important. For example, if you are programming a lift, the lift has to infinitely listen for button presses. So the lift, wherever, regardless of wherever like it finds itself, if it's in the 15th floor, it has to continuously listen for the click of a button, like somebody is calling me. So if the lift is on the 15th floor and somebody is on the 4th floor and the person presses on the 4th floor, it will be a very stupid program if the lift, once it is moving to the 15th floor, it doesn't care about anything else. Then it will keep people waiting and nobody will be able to call it until it has gone to drop that guy on the 15th floor. At which point, the guy on the 4th floor will be pissed off and will decide to climb the stairs and will be on the 7th floor and might not even find the need for the lift anymore. So in embedded systems and in computer games, we usually have infinite loops. Like if you are playing FIFA, your game is constantly listening for the joysticks buttons that you are moving and which ones you are pressing. If it has gyroscopes, the gyroscope is constantly listening for how you've tilted your controller so that the characters in the game can respond accordingly. So in those environments, infinite loops become very important. But in many more cases, it is useless. So what if I want to print let's say I'm a mad guy and I like to wish people happy birthday the whole month of their birthday. So let's say you are born in June and for some weird reason, I wish you happy birthday every blessed day until June is over. How many days are in June?
30.
30. So this is how I will wish you happy birthday until June is over. So I'll say day is equal to 1. Okay. And then end day is equal to 30. Then I'll say while day is less than end day, print happy birthday. Now, if I run this code, it is still an infinite loop. Let me run it. If you leave this notebook running for 10 years, you'll come back to it to meet a pile of happy birthday messages for absolutely no reason except the fact that we have created an infinite loop. So you see, as I speak, it is still running. Let me kill it. Okay. Now, how do we get out of it? Why has it even underlined it? Keyboard interrupt, all right. So how do we get this program? How do we teach it some sense that, dude, keep wishing this guy a happy birthday, but on the 30th day and afterwards, the month is over and the person's birth month is gone. So we are not wishing you. This is actually, you are wishing somebody a birth month, not a birthday. So how do we make sure that when the month is over, you stop wishing me a happy birthday? We need to change some condition. Now we are not changing the condition. So if we leave this program running, it will do the same thing. God will come and the program will still be running. How do we change this? The most important thing is inside the loop, inside the block of the loop, something should happen to change the condition so that there is that point in the future where the condition will become false. Because as long as this condition remains true, the block of the for loop is running. See, if I put here, print that was a long one, I wish you the best. Let's see what happens. We will never get to that statement because this is an infinite loop. If you don't get the dangers of an infinite loop, it means the program stops at that line. It keeps doing that thing over and over and over. And every other statement after the loop is ignored. It like the interpreter doesn't even get there because of the loop. And so we need a way to get out of the loop. The question is, how did we even get into the loop in the first place? Let me change day to 31 or 32 or anything above 30 and let's see what happens. Did the loop work?
No.
Yes, it didn't work. And it went right on to print, that was a long one, I wish you the best. Why? Because the condition here evaluated to false. He said day is 32 and the set end day is 30. So the condition will be checked. Is 32 less than 30? No. And because it is false, the entire loops block is going to be ignored. And the immediate line or statement following is what is going to be executed.
Question, sir.
Let's see how we fix this. Now, this is a question I'm asking. How will we make sure the condition evaluates to false? Anyone can unmute himself or herself and share your idea.
Question.
Please, the question again.
How do we make this an infinite loop? Because now the condition here is always true. What do we have to do so that at a point the condition will become false so that the loop will stop?
You can introduce an equal to while day is less or equal.
Stephanie, have you been out all this while? Edward, you are saying something.
We can use an equal to while day is less or equal to a particular.
Is that while what?
So let's say day 1 and day 10. So between day 1 and day 1 to day 10.
Yeah, so how do we write that?
While day is less or equal to 10. And
Like this?
yeah.
Okay, there's still an infinite loop. Rosina, do you have an idea?
Maybe we can use the end command or the block command.
The break.
Yeah, break. Yeah, break.
If you break, it does it just once and it stops. See, it will just wish the person happy birthday once and it will stop. Because he said while day is like, you see, the break breaks entirely out of the for loop. Stephanie, are you back? It breaks.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Were you here when I started the while loop then? And the infinite?
Yes, but I didn't hear your question.
Okay, so the question is, the code we have written here is an infinite loop because it keeps going on. I mean, when I remove this, and Edward suggested that we make it less or equal to, when I remove this, it's an infinite loop. It will keep printing happy birthday till thy kingdom come. Meanwhile, we want it to stop after it has done that for 30 times. We are assuming each iteration is a day. So after it has done that 30 times, it should stop. And so I asked, how do we get out of the for loop? And Edward suggested that we do less or equal to. And I said that is still an infinite loop. Because what is determining if the loop should run or not is the condition. And so as long as you are not changing the condition, the loop has to run. And Rosina suggested that there's a command called break, which you can use to break out of any loop. That is true. But if I break, the break will exit the loop entirely. So the loop will not do what we intended to do. Let's run it and see. You see that it runs, it says happy birthday only once, and it stops. So you didn't send me happy birthday messages for 30 days. So the question is, how do we get this loop to do what it's supposed to do? This is very critical. It's crucial because you need it for the assignment. And I know that is where most of you will find yourself wanting.
So can we add an if statement in this?
Okay, if what? See, guys, I want you to
1, 31.
1 over 31.
31.
No, it won't work. See, I want you people to listen to me very carefully. You will spot the answer. Listen, I said, what is making the loop run? This was the original code. Let's go back to the original code. What is making the loop run is because the condition here is always true. It's called a tautology. It is always true because 1 is always less than 30. And as long as this condition is true, the loop will keep running. So how do we exit the loop?
Can we use a range?
We can introduce an elif.
Elif?
Yeah.
Nope. And Rosina suggested a range. Nope.
Hey.
The only way to exit the loop is to make the condition false. I said the reason why the loop is running is because the condition is always true. So at a certain point in the future, you need to make the condition false. How do we do that? Yes, you said, okay, this is day 1, and you want to end on the 30th day. But you are not increasing the day. Inside the loop, you need to increase the day. So I'll say here, day is equal to day plus 1. Now let's go. You see, after wishing me happy birthday for 30 days, it will stop and finally say, that was a long one. I wish you the best. Why? Now let's step through it one line after the other. So we start, we said day is equal to 1. End day is equal to 30. While day is less than day. Now think of it, day is 1, right? Is 1 less than 30?
Yes.
So it print happy birthday. And as part of the loop, it will say day is equal to day plus 1. So now what is day?
Day is day 1.
Nope, it's 2. Now day is 2.
Yeah.
Do you people understand it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so let's assume we are on the 29th day. When we reach here and we say day is equal to day plus 1, what is day now?
30.
So when it gets to the loop, is 30 less than 30?
No.
So then the condition is false, and this Baba here will continue.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes. So let's use a for loop to count from 1 to 100. To do that, we just say, I will say, max is equal to 100. So we want to count maximum 100 times. Then I'll say current is equal to 1. Then I'll say while current is less than max, print current. Now, what is wrong with this code? Stephanie, what do you think this code will do?
It's an infinite. Okay, Stephanie.
Yeah, but what will it do? What will the output look like? Anybody should tell me the answer.
It's an infinite one.
Yes, it will print
Because
one
current is
infinite.
always less than max.
Yes. So Rosina and Stephanie, I didn't hear you speak. Does that mean you don't understand it?
No, we understood it.
Oh, I
Edward
understand it.
answered quickly.
Okay. So if I do this, it's an infinite pile of 1. So the only way to get it is to make sure that the current, which is part of the condition, changes inside the loop. So I'll say current is equal to current plus 1. And now we get it. But see, it goes 1 to 99 because we use the less. So we need to say less or equal to, so that we get it from 1 to 100. Okay? Now, let's use the same block of code to print the multiplication table of 3. So I want 3, 1, 3, 3, 2, blah, 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 all the way to 100. How will we do that? Think about it. I'm not going to solve it. Take it as an exercise for yourself, and then in the next session, you can show your answer.
So please, can you go back to the happy birthday one? I think I got confused. Okay, so when the initial condition is met, the first line of code, which is print happy birthday, will continue.
Yeah.
The next line,
it's not just the first line of code. Everything in that block
will run.
Yes. So it includes this.
So you impose a false statement after to break it along the way.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you get it?
I get it now.
So what is wrong with this code? If I do this, what's wrong with it?
It's still in the first line. It's still in the first command you gave.
Yes, so it's still an infinite loop, and it will never get to the point where they will even increase. You get it? Because this is the loop. This is the block of the loop. And within the block, if we don't do anything to make sure that the condition becomes false in the future, then we never exit the loop. And that is why it's important that the conditions, the statement that changes the condition is part of the loop.
Okay.
And so you get it to do exactly what you want it to do. And,
Okay.
we also have this for loop here. So let's use this. Yes, you have a question?
The max one.
Yeah. So we just wanted to count from 1 to 100. And so we start from 1, and then we said max is 100. So while the current is less, like think of it this way. When you are a kid and they ask you count from 1 to 100, you see some of these things as humans, we do them intuitively. So we don't understand the mechanics of what goes on in our brain. When they say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but the truth is somewhere in your subconscious mind, you keep track of where you are. That is why you don't say 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 till daybreak. Because somewhere in your subconscious mind, you keep track of the fact that you have said 1. And so the next is 2. When you say 2, you keep track of it. That's why you go 1, 2, 3, 4. But because of the way we are taught, we sit in class and we recite it as a song. And we don't think about it. You should think about how you think. That is what programming forces you to do. Yeah, there is such a thing as thinking about how you think.
Wow.
And that is what programming forces you to do. That is why programmers are usually analytical, because you have to think about what you are thinking to program. So there is an art of thinking about how you think. And that is the algorithms. That is like being able to explain how things are done. If you are not able to explain how something is done, you never understand it. If you are not able to explain how things are done, you will never understand it. If I ask you now, how do you ride a bicycle? It's so easy when you know how to ride a bicycle. But it's not everybody who can teach somebody how to ride a bicycle. Oh, sit on it and straighten your back. Make sure you don't tilt. You don't tilt yourself. Don't shake when you are. Don't look on the ground. Look straight. And don't look in the direction of because you steer in the direction of your eyesight. These are people who understand it, and it's true. If you are starting to ride a bicycle first, you sit on it. You turn the steer left. You are looking left. That's why you turn it left. If you turn it right, it means you are looking right. So if you are riding a bicycle for the first time, you are afraid there's a river and you are afraid that you fall in the river, you will indeed fall in it if you don't have a proper teacher, because you'll be looking at the river and that is exactly where the bicycle will go. But if you have somebody who understands how to reason, for example, if I give you a robot right now and I ask you to, by the way, I'll be arranging times when you people will come here so that once you know enough Python, we'll be doing robotics and all that, and you'll be coming around to the lab. Now, if I ask you to teach a robot to do things that you do and you don't think about, that is when you begin to realize that you do things that you don't know how you do it. Right now, if I ask you to program a robot that can sort balls into colors, so I give it 4 blue balls, 5 yellow balls, 6 green balls, and I put 3 containers there, then the robot should pick a ball and drop it in a particular bin depending on the color. If I give it to you as a human, it's so easy for you to do. It's like, oh, just look at the color. When you look at the color and it's red, put it in the red bin. If it's blue, put it in the blue bin. This same thing, if I ask you to translate it into code, then you begin to realize you don't know a lot about your brain. So what I'm encouraging you to do is thinking about how you think. It's a process. Think about how you think. And programming for a long time will help you to develop that skill. Okay, let's use this block to print even numbers from 1 to 100. It's simple. I will just have to add, here, I'll say if current mod 2 is equal to 0, print current. So these are even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. What is going on here? I said if current mod 2, the modulus operator gives you the remainder when, let me do a proper example. If I say A mod B, what I want is, what is the remainder when A is divided by B? So for example, if I say 10 mod 5, what should be the answer? 0, because if you divide 10 by 5, you get 2. There's no remainder. Okay? What if I do 10 mod 3? If 3 people go to share 10 things and there's no greedy person amongst them, 1 thing will be left. Do you get it? So what is 8 mod 3? I want an answer. It's 2. If 3 people have to share 6 oranges and there's no politician amongst those 3 people, everybody will take 2 and it will be left with 2. Is it confusing?
Please.
No.
No.
Please.
I got distracted a bit.
Okay, so I'm saying the modulus operator returns the remainder when A is divided by B. So if you divide 8 by 3, you'll be left with 2. I cited an example that if you have 8 oranges and you want 3 people to share it, unless there is a politician amongst them, each one, because they are morally upright, will take just 2 and leave the 2, because there's no way 3 people can share 2 things. But if there's a politician in there, some people will take 2 whilst others have to take. So the modulus operator keeps the politicians out. So over here, how we did this, we came up with this solution is, we just check if current modulus 2, like any number divisible by 2 without a remainder is an even number. So if it is divisible by 2 and the remainder is 0, then print current. Then we go ahead to increment. Look at the indentation here. It's very important. If I move this guy here, the answer is different. You see? It becomes infinite. Now I'll leave why this problem is a problem to you to think about. Because now I've explained enough for you to understand why this is a problem. So I am demonstrating this for you not to be joking with your indentation. Indentation can take your sleep for years. If you get the indentation wrong, it can take your sleep. You can write code that looks like it should work. You see, sometimes you get to that point where you hold your jaw and you be looking at your screen like, but this thing should work. But one thing you need to know is code never lies. A code is not a liar. Code will do exactly what you ask it to do. If you write code to bomb your hard disk, it will happily blast it. So code doesn't lie. If your code is not working, don't challenge your computer. Don't blame your computer. I don't know what's wrong with my computer. I don't know what's wrong with my Python. There is nothing wrong with your Python. There is nothing wrong with your computer. There is something wrong with your logic. So the first way to stay away from frustration is don't challenge code. Do not challenge code. If your code is not working, instead of trying to fight your code, hey, you're supposed to work. Why is it not working? My wife does that a lot. Rosina, she does that a lot. Hey, but this thing is supposed to, you see her quarreling with code. I tell her, code doesn't lie. If you are wrong, you are wrong. Okay, enough for the day. So let me give you the assignment. So let me increase the complexity of the assignment. Let me insert a code cell here, and I'll say assignment 2. So add the following features to our ATM simulation program. 1, if first of all, check for correctness of the pin. 2, if the length of the pin is more than 4 or less than 4, stop the operation. You know the ATM pins are supposed to be 4 characters long, right? So if I ask me to enter the pin and I enter 3 characters, automatically my pin is wrong. If I enter 0, is wrong. If I enter just 1 character, is wrong. If I enter 5 characters, automatically it's wrong. Even if the correct pin is 1, 2, 3, 4, and I enter 1, 2, 3, 9, it's wrong. So I want you to do those checks, because if you present your solution, I will give you some input to enter so that it will reveal the problems in your solution. So I want you to check, apart from checking that the entered pin is the correct pin, you also want to check the length. And we know that the length must be 4, not less, not more. And then what you were supposed to do yesterday. If user enters wrong pin tries, block the account and stop the operation. I mean, block the account here is just some fancy word, but basically if I enter the wrong pin 3